Hello and welcome to the AniMates, the channel for animators by animators. We have a hell of a show for you today because we have the Camilo on, the CEO and creator of AniMbot, and if you don't know what that is, I'm about to show you, but it's basically an amazing tool set that Maya should have created but didn't, and this guy had the genius to actually go out and do it and make it a reality. And I'd like to show you some of the things it does if you are unaware of it. So yeah, I'll do that now. Okay, so this is, I've closed it. No, I haven't, it's here.
Make a new selection within it. Create, organize, and select group of controllers. Isolate groups of objects. Select opposite controls. Automatically select opposite controls. Deselect right, center, or left controls. Copy a pose to another frame, character, or even to another Maya session. Copy and paste animation around in a non-destructive manner. From a character to another, or from a curve to another. Use a mirror tool that works for every rig. Mirror an entire pose or just part of it. Or gradually blend to mirror. Mirror a selection of animation, or a whole animation, or automatically. Align objects, maybe just the position, orientation, or scale. Align objects on a range, or to the whole animation. Copy X form of an object and paste to another. To all keys. Stick objects to world space. Fix sliding feet. Transfer the master motion to COG and IKs. Lock child controls in world space. Reposition the master control. Avoid overcomplicated constraints. Copy and paste a relationship with no commitment to a single key or all keys. Pass the torch. Fake relationships. Have a sticky relationship or a temporary relationship. Switch spaces to a single key, a section, or all keys. Use the best rotation order to avoid gimbal locks. Rotate controls from wherever the hell you want. Rotate multiple objects. Stick the pivot to world space. Handle manipulators with precision. Edit a pose to the whole animation. Tweak an expression for only a section of your animation. Track the arcs. In camera space or any object space. Track the nose, damn it, or multiple objects at once. No available controller? Track a vertex, but only the range you need. A little bit at a time. Arcs have different styles. Don't let noisy arcs go unnoticed. Detect bad spacing. Edit curves faster with delayed refresh lag, or with no lag at all. Get organized when working on long shots. Tag your frames. Play on ones, on twos, on threes, on fours, only keys, or just a section. Use Euler filter to fix wacky rotations. Clear all animation. Crop your animation without screwing it up. Set keys without screwing things up. Snap keys without screwing things up. Essentially, don't screw things up. Remove redundant keys. Remove static curves or hide them, or simply ignore static objects. Reverse animation. Navigate keyframes faster while hearing the audio. Jump and edit keys. Loop through selected keys. See and edit all the channels of multiple selected objects. Have a visual feedback on the timeline when channels are selected. And clear the selection with your preferred hotkey. Switch manipulator's orientation with a hotkey. Orient it to your camera or to another object. Track down where that nasty key is coming from. Select all animation curves in the scene for a global retiming. Select all your rig controls. Lip sync to the beat. Hide unnecessary information. Assign a hotkey to toggle visibility. Sync what's isolated in all viewports. Give a rest to the F key. Go back in time. And most importantly, don't lose work when Maya crashes. Everything demonstrated here can be assigned to a hotkey.
Yep. Yep. Was on January 7th. The official one. Well, some people doesn't even know that I'm an animator in the first place. Um, so I mean, I just love animating. Actually, I don't like developing stuff that much. That's kind of weird, but like, it's true, yeah. So what drives me to do this kind of stuff is my laziness. I would say that because I always like try to find ways to do it, and I wouldn't say in a faster way. It's more like a more intuitive way to do it. And that started back in 2013 was when I started making the A tools. That was the one before this.
Mm-hmm.
And that happened because I was used to work just in 3D Max before, and when I came to Vancouver in 2012 to work at Sony, and that was the first time that I worked just with Maya, like
Mm-hmm.
full time. I had worked before remotely for real effects on Open Season 3 and the Ice Age Christmas special. I worked a little bit, but not like full time. So when I started working at Sony, they had like a lot of in-house tools, and I was like in that moment where I didn't have any like proper workflow
Yeah.
because in Maya. So I ended up like sponging up everything,
Mm-hmm.
and I created my workflow based on those tools.
Mm-hmm.
I had some tools that I had like from the internet, like the Queen Machine,
Yeah.
and there was some grabber tool. Like I don't remember the other ones, but the Twin Machine was the main one that I used.
Yeah. Twin Machine's great.
Oh yeah, it's still like survived
Yeah.
until today, right? Yeah, that's great. And uh, and then, but the work the gig at Sony was supposed to to take 4 months only. And I ended up working 7 months, but I left
Mm-hmm.
after that, and I ended up going to Method.
Mm-hmm.
And they didn't have any like animation pipeline at that time. They were like starting building one. They had done a lot of like compositing and stuff, but not animation at that time.
Yeah.
So I was working on the Maze Runner first first one.
Yeah.
Then I mean I sit in front of my computer and they didn't have anything. And like suddenly my workflow was down the drain.
Yeah.
I had to go back again to the workflow that I had before
Yep.
the one at Sony. I mean, at Sony they didn't have like great tools. It was just
Right.
like there was some tools that helped a lot, like switching spacing for things, like uh, it's stuff that you ended up like wiring your brain to work that way,
Yeah.
and then suddenly you don't have that anymore,
Yeah.
and you have to rewire again.
Yeah.
And but rewiring backwards hurts a lot
Yeah.
because you know that there's a better way to do it, and you can't. So that was a very frustrating moment for me, and at Method the gig was like 3 months as well,
Mm-hmm.
short time as well. So I remember that I took about a week to get the old tools again and to set up hotkeys again and to get a little bit like more comfortable working that way. And then I thought, okay, so seems like in Vancouver I'll be jumping around studios a lot.
Yeah.
So I need to have like something that I can at least install quickly
Yep.
and rely on that.
Mm-hmm.
So the first thing that I did was I'm not gonna use in-house tools anymore. That was the first thing. And I mean, right now I'm not that. I mean, I still use some,
Yeah.
but I tend not to use tools that in-house tools that I need to rely
Yeah.
my workflow on it, because just like you get home and you cannot use it,
Yeah.
it's frustrating.
Yeah, it's the worst thing in the world is to get used to something really cool and then be like, no, you can't have that anymore, and it's going to take 4 times as long to do anything, and it's just frustrating because it's like one piece out of the puzzle where you can just get on and animate something instead of worrying about, oh, there's that button I could have clicked and it would have fixed it, but now I have to go through all these steps. And
Exactly, yeah. Yeah, because working in computers are a little bit different, like the art world, because you kind of rely on tools. Like tools are stuff that helps you creating things. Like I would compare, like for example, if like in the past people used to draw with, you know, like sticks on the sand or rocks or whatever, and then suddenly they have pencils,
Yeah.
or they have brushes or whatever, and then it's the same thing. Like it's like, okay, you can work in the studio with pencil, but at home you don't have the pencil.
Hmm.
So it's, you know, like it's frustrating. And then the first thing that I did I didn't know how to write Python, the language that I write the tools on Animbot.
Mm-hmm.
But I had some programming background, but like nothing. I haven't studied anything, and it was just like trying things from the internet. So the first thing that I wanted to do was, okay, I need a very simple toolbar that I can just drag files and then press a button, and all my hotkeys and all my tools will be there for me. And that first idea of having the toolbar at the bottom was right like the first thing that I thought about. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't want a shelf on the top or like
Yeah.
anything. I want, like some widgets that I can like use more easily at the bottom, because the timeline is there. So to me, like, makes more sense to have
Mm-hmm.
close to the timeline. So I did the thing that I did. The first version of ATools was I grabbed the Twin Machine. I grabbed it was just like shortcuts to the old scripts that I had. So I had a button that would launch the Twin Machine, the other button that would launch the other script, the other button, like it was like 6, 7 buttons or something. And then in the process of doing that, like to create a toolbar and have the shortcuts in there, I started like learning a little bit. And I was lucky that there was a rigger at Method that was an animator as well,
Mm-hmm.
and he taught me a lot of Python, and that was like a kickstart for me. Like, and then I got excited, like the things that I learned, and then I knew that was possible to do, and and then the first thing that I wanted to do was to redesign the Twin Machine for the ATools one,
Mm-hmm.
because there was some little things that I didn't like about the old Twin Machine, that I don't know how it is today, but I remember that you had to launch the window, and then the window would be a floating window
Yeah.
there.
That was annoying.
Yeah, and then you had to like click the button, and then you cannot use hotkeys anymore because
Yeah.
the focus it's on the window.
Mm.
So you had to click on the viewport again to scrub through frames and use hotkeys and stuff. And since I use that a lot, Twin Machine, I wanted to make those buttons but on my toolbar.
Yeah.
So I started doing that, and I think took me maybe a month or 2 months to do just those things.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing started to ramping up quickly, like, okay, I can do this, let me try to do something else. And then I was starting to like redoing the other tool that I didn't like one or other thing about it. And then I remember like I had an epiphany on one day that I thought, okay, so my workflow is wired to those tools, right? Like I work, I need to work in a way that someone that did that tool uh, intended. And then uh, I thought, okay, so if I'm the one writing the tool, it's better than for me to first think of the workflow, and then I will think
Think
about
of
the
the
tool,
tool. Mm-hmm.
because then I can like design the workflow the way that I want,
Yeah.
not the way that I've been taught to do.
Yeah.
And since I came from traditional animation first, before uh, doing CG, I have so many things that I didn't like about CG.
Yeah.
So many things until today. Like there's so many things that are so easy to do in 2D that are so hard to do in 3D,
Mm-hmm.
or vice versa, right?
Yeah.
But there was a lot of things that didn't need to be that hard.
Mm.
Like, for example, the things that are the blend to neighbor slider, the one that you go to one pose to the other,
Mm-hmm.
which is a little bit different than the Twin Machine, because the Twin Machine always recalculate everything based on the neighbor keys.
Okay.
The blend to neighbors actually get if you already have a key there, and then you just want to favor that pose that you already have
Yeah.
to one or the other key, and then you use the blend to neighbors, and then we'll start favoring. Instead of like, say you did a breakdown
Yeah.
in the middle, and then the pose is already very different from the neighbor ones, and
Yeah.
then but then you want to like blend a little bit more, or like say the hand is like a fist, and you want to blend that a little bit more to the other key, but the neighbor keys, both of the neighbor keys are like this,
Mm-hmm.
and you have the breakdown like this. If you create the
Oh,
twin
I
machine,
see.
you need it to like pop.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's
Yeah,
clever.
because it's relying on those keys, and
Right.
it's blowing away the pose that you already have.
Oh,
And the
wow.
blend neighbors actually get that pose, and then we blend a little bit, and then you can use that kind of thing for everything.
Yeah.
You know, like blinks or expressions or whatever. It's just like it's that the thing that I mentioned about the mindset, because in 2D you would have like the drawing there, and then if you want something a little bit close to the other one, you would just like erase the hands
Yep.
in a way that you can see that a little bit, and then you turn on your
And you're skinning.
light table, and then you can see like the drawing that you had and the other drawing, and then you do a little bit more. You know,
Mhm.
like that kind of mindset that I wanted to do. Um, you know, and then since that day, I started like redesigning everything from scratch basically. I had
Wow.
my own tools, my own scripts.
Yeah, to hell with all this crap. Gonna do it all from scratch. My way. I like it.
Yeah, I'm gonna do it my way now.
On
bitch.
my way.
but the idea was not to do like a tool that would be like default, or a tool that everyone would use. Not that was not like I knew that I was not a developer.
Yeah.
Actually, what I wanted to do, I did my own things there, and then it was no all crappy. Like if you didn't have a object selected, it would just failed.
Right.
You know, like didn't have any of those bulletproof things that you need to have if more people are using.
Right.
But I knew that okay, I need to have something
Right.
selected in order to click this.
It wasn't
I
idiot proof. You already
Yeah.
knew all the
Yeah.
steps that you needed to do to get it to work, but it wasn't intuitive enough for someone else to pick up and use.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I left Method. I started working in another studio, and by that time I was the only one using it. But at the studio, I was showing some friends that we were like a small team.
Yeah.
And we used to like hang out a lot and share stuff, knowledge and stuff. And then some of them started to become like, I want to use this. Let me use this. Okay, here it is. And then they would go back to my desk. There's an error here.
Yeah.
And then that was
Help,
the
Alan.
time- yeah. So that was the time that I started to, okay, let me try to do something that was gonna be a little bit more bulletproof. At least like, okay, it would show a message if the
Mhm.
guy doesn't have the proper thing selected to
Mhm.
use the machine or whatever. And then I started doing that. And also I made it, eventually I made it public on the internet, but was not to be public to other people
Right.
initially. It was just to have something on a server that,
Yeah.
because I was working from home, so I would go home, write something new, and then I would, in the morning I was in the studio, I would like to just click update, and that would download
And it does it, yeah.
what I did. So that was the first thing that I did for that, and that would also update for a couple friends that were using
Yeah.
the studio as well. But and then that become that way in the studio, and then more people starting to use that thing there, but it was not a lot. It was like maybe 8
Yeah.
animators or something. And that but I didn't have any idea of who else was using it. It was on the internet,
Yeah.
but I was not like promoting anywhere.
Right,
It was
yeah.
not, was not for that. what I wanted to actually was, since I was not still not like a proper developer, let's say, let's
Yeah.
put it that way. I wanted to that someone would, some developer, not an animator, but a real like developer
Mm-hmm.
would look at those tools
And go,
and
wow, we
pick
should
it
do
up.
something. Yeah.
Yeah, like okay, let me try to do my version out of this. This is like a blueprint.
Mm-hmm.
Then they would do like a really good one on top of
Mm-hmm.
it. But that never happened.
Yeah.
And like I was a little bit naive because in order to something like this to have like, it's a lot of work in the first place
Yeah.
to do it. I know now
Yeah.
because I did that. I like the Animbot was exactly that. Like I wanted to okay now I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna learn how to develop properly. So I studied a lot before starting it, and then I will pick it up and do it. At first, I thought I was going to finish in 4 months,
Okay. Yeah.
and that was around January 2017.
Mm-hmm.
So
And
it's
how
been
how
two
much did
years.
you already have done by the time you decided to actually make it like a thing? Like, because you said you had like bits and pieces, you had like the tween machine and some other bits. So like, how, if you were to put it on like a percentage scale of 0 to 100 is Animbot as people knew it. Sorry, not Animbot, A Tools, which was
Mhm,
the predecessor to Animbot.
mhm.
So for A Tools, to what you had when you left, what, like, how far along was it, do you think?
It was exactly the. I was saying like comparing the A tools to Animbot, or
No, like, so you said you like made all the little tools at work and people were using them, and then you were like, right, I'm going to become a developer. I'm going to make this a real thing. So from that day, what you already had, did you start from scratch, or did you use what
yeah,
you
I started
had?
from scratch.
You
Yeah,
just started 100% new.
yeah. There was some stuff like because I think I need to talk about the story that happened at Sony in order
Okay.
to understand this. So what happened was I worked in that studio for about a year,
Yep.
and the version, the A Tools version that is online today, that people that use A Tools it's using, is the one that I had at that time. That was 2015, so it's 4 year old almost.
Yeah.
So that was the version that I had when I went back to Sony again. So I
Right.
went back to Sony, and then there was when things changed a little
Right.
bit. So I went there, installed it for me, and some of the animators that were in the other studio with me also joined at Sony again,
Mm-hmm.
and they also installed it for them. So we were like, I think maybe what was I mentioned, like 6, 8 people.
Mm-hmm.
And at the time was we were working on Hotel Transylvania too,
Mm-hmm.
and then in less than a month, the thing like spread like wildfire through the studio because
Okay.
of what happened was Sony was uh, when I was working there on Smurfs too, a lot of animators were laid off
Okay.
because there was Smurfs 2 and Cloud with Chance of Meatballs 2 at the
Okay.
same time. So there was a lot of animators, and then
Ah.
suddenly they didn't have anything. I think they worked only on the Amazing Spider-Man. So it
Mm-hmm.
was maybe 40 animators at maximum. So they
Wow.
laid off almost like 200 at the time.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
And then when Hotel T started, they started Hotel T and Angry Birds at the
Mm-hmm.
same time ish. So a lot of those animators went back.
Yep.
So they had and a lot of new animators as well. So it was like, okay, everybody's new, and then there's this tool. Like one person started talking to each other, was like a chain effect because everybody was kind
That
of
word of
starting.
mouth. Anime is brilliant for that. It's just like, it's such a close knit community that if one person finds something cool, it just.
Yeah. So like everybody was using not in including like in other shows like There was Alice in Wonderland
Yeah.
for the first or the second, but some animators were using there as well. But I didn't know. That was the funny part. Like I didn't know. To me, like it was just me and those friends. And then suddenly, like about a month later, I received a message from some of the pipeline guys saying, um,
Well, what is this?
yeah, what is this? So like there was people,
This ATOLS virus.
yeah, there was people like sending desktop requests to the pipeline.
Yeah.
Because even they didn't know that this was a like a underground tool that an animator did.
Right, yeah.
They thought that it was a Sony tool. So they started like any problem, they would send the ticket to the
Right.
to the pipeline. And then I said, "Oh fuck, I'm gonna be fired now."
Oh no.
I said, "Damn it!" And then of course, the pipeline didn't like it.
Right, yeah. Can imagine.
And but it was not like my intention to do anything. Like everything happened.
Yeah. It was very organic and it just kind of like you
Yeah.
didn't think it would be as popular as it was and that people would be sharing it as much as they did and
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they immediately they wanted to like cut it out, like forbid the use.
okay.
But on people from Hotel T and Angry Birds, there was a lot of animators.
Yeah.
Like, about maybe 70 or 100 each show.
Yeah.
And they fought back. They won it. Even like the
Whoa.
supervisors already knew about it, and of course they wanted the animators to be happy, right?
Right.
But they said, no, let's keep it that way, and blah blah blah. And then that fight between pipeline and animation happened. Like the friction happened for a few months. They ended up forbidding for Alice because there was less animators and they were not uh, so hooked yet. So they forbid for that one. But Hotel and Anger was still they were still using it. And then after at the end of the show, almost a guy from the dev team, like the thing was like from starting to go up, like the TD and then pipeline, and then well it went up the chain until like
Okay.
the head of the development there.
Oh, you must have been really scared.
Oh yeah. Like everything was happening without me knowing anything.
Right.
So I was working like all those months, like trying to, like I learned a lot because was when, when pressure like this happened, like you kind of, so I started like fixing a lot of things, and a guy from the development at TD there was a really nice guy. He came to me and then he read my code and then he helped me to like do this, don't do
Right.
this, don't
Yeah.
ever do this,
Cool.
like, and then I changed a lot of things, but uh, it all those things is not in the ATools version that it is online, because when I started doing updates at Sony, they asked me to stop like
Right.
publicly, and they basically said to me, uh, we can do a deal, like we use your tool, you give it for free for us. They didn't say in those words, but
Okay.
that was it. And then they can keep using it, or we will have to like take it out.
Right.
And I said, okay, let me think about it. And then I went home and I thought, I talked with some friends. I have a very good friend that is like a badass developer as well. He's very experienced, like more than 20 years in the industry and everything.
Yeah.
And then he said to me, just do it. Just let them use it. You're gonna learn a lot.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And then I said, okay. And then I did. I signed a contract with them. Basically, like I was lucky because if I hadn't made it public before joining Sony,
Mm-hmm.
like, they would have got everything.
Right. Yeah.
So they, since it was public already, they let that part away from the contract. So basically, like whatever I update now, it's ours.
Right.
So
So you're like, I quit.
so okay, let's do this. And then I kind of became slash animator slash was
Like a developer.
developing
Yeah.
the anime, just a tools. I was not developing anything else. It was just
Mm-hmm.
like I was kind of responsible just for the shit that I did.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I did a lot of updates for Sony. Like the A tools there is it's much better than the one online.
Mm-hmm.
But the problem was I didn't have proper time to do it. I
Yeah.
had to like the my supervisors and my animation supervisors and my leads and everything. Nobody exactly knew what was the deal, like what I was doing. So I had to deliver my shots the same quota as everyone else.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
No
And at the
pressure.
same time, if there's a bug or something or any new thing that I wanted to do, I had to do it on my own
Yeah.
risk.
Wow.
So it was a really weird situation, and I couldn't make progress too much to a tool because of this,
Right.
because it was a secondary thing,
Yeah.
and I couldn't take the code home, right?
Right.
Because it was honest. So I was in that situation where um, I didn't have the proper time, and uh, I had like the list of things that I wanted to do kept growing and growing and growing.
Yeah.
Why? Because I was animating, and I always have ideas while I'm animating. So I had a lot of ideas, and I would write them down, and but never had time to do anything. I
Yeah.
did some things, but was not even close to what I wanted to do. And then, but that was okay for a while. Like I worked on cool projects. I was happy uh, until the a time that I just like it was kind of eating me from inside.
Yeah.
I eventually got to a point where I said, okay, I can either give up on those tools, uh, everything,
Yeah.
and keep like this working just as animator and
Mm-hmm.
all this shit, or I can find a way to do it, but I need to own it. I need to do
Yeah.
it at home and own it. So I have like at least I can do it at home
Mm.
and have more time to do it, my own things. And then I went to them and proposed this, but they are very strict as far as owning software things there,
Okay.
because they have I assume they are sued a lot
Right.
because of those things. So they really like that. No, we don't do this.
Mm-hmm.
And then uh, I decided to just okay. I'm gonna look around the city to see if there's any studio that I can work and do this.
Yeah.
And that was really funny because when I did this, I got a few interviews in the first week, and everyone knew me because of
Yeah.
a tool because all those studios were using it,
Yeah.
and they didn't really knew me because I was an animator. I mean,
Right.
they knew that I was, but my name came out because of the tools.
Yeah.
Oh, the Ray Tools guy, you know.
Well, did you not realize that, like, how many people had downloaded it? That it
I
was.
no,
No,
I
you
guess
just didn't.
no.
And you were like, oh, everyone keeps mentioning it. Interesting. What's that about? Yeah.
Yeah, I had no idea. Like up to today, I was not tracking anything, so I don't know exactly how many people, but I have like by the download hits
Mm.
history, I can tell more or less, but I don't have like the exact number. And then And then I realized that okay, if this is the thing that I that is making value on my professional career,
Yeah.
I'm gonna just jump.
Just do it.
Yeah, just do it properly
100%.
now.
Yeah.
I'm gonna start thinking about how uh, what would imply me to actually do this because I there's so many things involved, like so many things. Like um, first, like I would need to get another job,
Yeah.
and the job might not be something that I would like that much, and it wasn't the first one. Um, and I would have to like study more developing. I would have to.
Yeah, because you're
Uh,
still an animator at heart, so it's like, do I want to become someone who does this other thing, but not get to animate anymore?
yeah,
Is that
and all,
worth it?
yeah, and all the friends that I had that was a developer, I
Yeah.
mean, was an animator, and
Yeah.
now it's and went the other side to pick how that would be. They became just developers
Right.
because it's very tempting as far as like career
Mm-hmm.
because it's easier to find jobs.
Yeah.
It's it's more they have more value on those
Mm-hmm.
people because there are less of them,
Yeah.
and it's more stable, much more stable than
Right.
being an animator.
Yeah.
Right? But it's not very fun. so, so one thing that I had in mind was okay, I want to do this, but I'll have to like even if I write on my wall like I will never cross. I will
Right.
never take the blue pill and cross and cross the bridge completely. So that was the challenge. Like I always keep uh, away from
Doing
doing.
it.
Yeah, I just
Full.
want to do this. That's what I want to develop. It's my tools, and that's it.
Yeah.
Not
You're not like gonna go do 400 other development things. It's like this is
no.
the. Yeah. No, I see what you mean because you're less of a developer and more of a frustrated artist.
Yeah,
You know.
as I mentioned before, like I just do this because there's this lazy demon on my shoulder that keeps like, there's a better way. There's a better way.
Yeah.
No, don't do this. Too much work,
Yeah.
man. So I keep like trying to do those things, but just for this. Like I wouldn't have pleasure doing like a lighting tool
Right.
or
Because you're
accounting
not getting anything out of it.
software. Yeah.
Yeah.
So where was I? Okay, so I left Sony, went to Method. I worked on that movie Okja,
Okja,
and I
yeah.
worked just as a TD on that movie.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
But I knew that I was going to do that just for that movie,
Okay.
and I wanted to do that because I wanted to learn more.
Oh, okay. That's interesting.
Yeah. So I developed some tools there for them, but for the animation department was a crowdish system thing like for
Mm-hmm.
them, and I learned a lot at that time, and I was also like studying things like Qt, that's a language of UIs.
Mm-hmm.
I was learning more Python, object oriented coding. That's it's it's the proper way if you want to do something large scale.
Okay.
If you like just scripting things, it's okay. But once you get like A tools is just scripted basic mostly. So anything that you need to reuse around the code is
Yeah.
like a lot of work. It's you duplicate things around.
Yeah.
You know, with the other way is much more solid. So I wanted to learn that, and then I think that happened in that period of time that I was there. Uh, I worked a little bit on the Thor Ragnarok movie,
Mm-hmm.
but was just a little bit, and then my youngest daughter was born, the one that you saw.
Yeah.
So she was born in the middle of 2017, and I took a paternity leave,
Mm-hmm.
and I left Method for good. Um, and then I joined Stellar, the studio that I am right now.
Yeah.
And the good thing about it was like that first half of the year was kind of my school of
Okay.
development,
Yeah.
and then I uh, I thought I was going to do Animal. Like I had the whole idea of reading down the things that I want to do.
Mm-hmm.
In the beginning of the year, I got all of the ideas that I had plus the ones that I had already done, and then I'm like, okay, I want to change this, I want to do this new, I want to blow this away, do
Mm-hmm.
something different. I had all of that written down, but it took me 6 months just to learn more things, and I already knew that okay, 4 months is not gonna be
It's not
enough.
gonna cut it. Yeah.
Yeah, I would need much more than this, especially because I was just doing at home and on extra time. I was
Yeah.
working full time just on the studio,
It's a
and
lot of hours.
yeah. So was good to have that period that my daughter was born to rethink.
Mm-hmm.
Then like think about what I'm gonna do next now. Now that I know a little bit more, what would take for me to do this,
Yeah.
what I'm gonna do. So I decided to take a pay cut basically and find a job either remotely or um,
Like a
something that I could work.
freelance.
Yeah, I almost did. Like I got in contact with a studio, game studio, and then everything was almost like set. "Oh, okay, let's do this." And then I know that even if I was working full time
Mm-hmm.
remotely, I could do the job uh, and spare some time
Yeah.
for development.
Right.
And then this one other one came up, Stellar,
Mm-hmm.
and I was a little bit. I was not expecting anything like to do any kind of deal with local studios because I didn't want to work full time anymore.
Yeah.
But the owner of the studio, when I was talking to him, I mentioned about he knew me as well
Uh-huh.
because of the tools, and I talked about that I had this other project that I was doing, and I needed time and blah blah blah. And then he mentioned to me, what if you don't work one day a week?
Yeah.
Work 4 days for me, and then one day in
Yeah.
our thing. And then I said, uh-huh.
Oh,
Okay,
that
that might
works.
work. Yeah. And then that looked much more appealing to me, even though I would not receive like
Yeah.
5 days, just four, but it was enough. And then was part of like investing, let's say,
Yeah.
on the thing. And then I did that, and from that point onwards, everything it started to flow. Like, and then on November, that was September
Mm-hmm.
2017, and then on November, I decided to do that Patreon
Patreon. Yeah.
campaign because I wanted to have more like the idea of how many people would be actually interested in a tool that I knew that I needed to do a paid tool instead
Mm-hmm.
of a free one this time because it's not like if I did a free version again, it would die again.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay.
As soon as I get to a studio, I would have to give up that again.
Mm.
And I wanted to do something different that this time, so I said, okay, I'm going to do like a paid version. That, but I needed to know how many people would be interested about in this, because if it was like just couple couple dozen people or
Mm-hmm.
whatever, it wouldn't work
Yeah.
because it's too many work for just those people to pay for it.
Yeah.
uh, and then I did the Patreon campaign just to have an idea of how many people would be actually like, because there's a lot of people that say like, oh, that's a
Oh yeah, I
beautiful
love that,
thing.
and then
Yeah,
nothing.
it's awesome. But then you say, okay, we need to pay $1 now. No, I'm gonna use my own thing.
Yeah.
So I want to have an idea of how many of those people that would actually be interested in, okay, no, I want to pay for this because this helps me, you know?
Yeah.
I don't mind like pay you a coffee,
Yeah.
or whatever. So I had like, I was very surprised actually. I think I got more, it was more than 200 patrons
Mm.
that was just willing to like, okay, take my money a little
Yeah.
bit and then I'm
See what
supporting.
happens. Yeah.
Yeah. And then that was like the fuel that I needed to make the thing like real for sure. Because uh, that assured me a little bit more than, okay, I can spend a lot of hours in this and then at the end it's gonna worth it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, 100%. You've been going on your own for so long, and then the fact that you didn't know how successful ATOLS was, but that you had enough people be like, oh, I know that, I've used that, I've recommended it to all my friends, and then it's like, well, yeah, but how many people actually care about this tool set? So that must have been a really nice surprise for you then, to have the Patreon go so well.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I keep surprising myself actually, every day. Yeah. Even like on the launch, I got surprised by how many people was supporting me that way.
Mhm.
And then I launched the beta on November,
Mhm.
so it was almost an year to get to the first beta version. Because the development works like this, like you started like very slowly and things like it's exponential.
Yeah.
Then it's like having like Lego pieces.
Okay.
Like suppose you start, you don't have any piece
Okay.
of Lego, and then okay, I need to make one piece, and then you make the first one, for 2x2 thing piece. Okay, now I have this one. Okay, I'm gonna build a larger piece with this now. And then
Mhm.
you put them together. You know, you already have the mold to do
Yeah.
that piece, so we do more of them. And then okay, now I'm gonna do this new one, and then you start building things that way, and it gets faster and faster and faster.
Right.
And then by that time, I think I had maybe 20% done in
Wow.
November. Yeah.
Wow.
And then I got to 50% was around September 2018.
And that, you were working 1 day a week on it, or you were working 1 day a week plus nights plus weekends?
I wasn't work too much on weekends, but I
Mhm.
was pushing very hard on the weekdays.
Right.
Yeah, I was working. It was very hard on my body actually. I had to slow down a lot. I
Yeah.
had like back pains and stuff too
Wow.
because of like continuous like working. I was working like 12, 14 hours every day.
Yeah.
And then and then the last year 2018 was very fun actually. Like it was a lot of work, but was fun because it was I was basically like doing new things and stick with the plan that I had, but I was also, you know, like flexible to change things around, and a lot of people like starting to give ideas and sharing, so a lot of more people were using that
Yeah.
kind of stuff.
Yeah, I always notice how quick you were to respond to anything. If I said there was a bug or I had an idea, it was like an hour would go by and you'd be like, hi, I saw all this stuff and it's fixed, or oh, hey, yeah, that's a cool idea. How would that work? And it was like, oh, I didn't expect a response. Like, that's cool. So, yeah.
And that's the other difference of, I think, for someone that is developing a tool that you are also using it.
Right, yeah.
Because I also see like the benefits of a lot of those things. Like this doesn't work because of this, or it could be working better that way.
Yeah.
And then okay, yeah, I got it, and then I do it. If I was just developing for someone else, I would say, shut up. This is the way that click on the other button, or don't click on this button if this is erroring or something.
Yeah.
You know? So yeah, 2018 was that, and then I did a very hard push on the end of the year to get to the releasing.
Yeah. Was
version.
that a goal you set for yourself? Is that why you pushed so hard, or did you just want to be done with it, or Like, I mean, why did you feel like you needed to have it done? Was that?
It was a mix of things, like because if um, I was kind of relying on a single studio that I was working on. That was um, because Stellar is very different from other studios that I've been here. Like they are very open to make sure that you are happy.
Okay, that's nice.
They expect work from you, of course, as the same as other studio, but they want you to they are willing to talk about anything.
Yeah.
And I knew that it would be hard to find another one like this if for some reason that didn't work, because it was a Stellar is a startup studio.
Oh, okay.
So it's been I started with them at the very beginning of the studio.
Okay.
So nobody actually knew exactly what would happen. We were all like excited about it and doing, but you know, it could end in a year
Right.
or not. As far as like every startup,
Yeah.
there's this risk. And it was taking it was that was one of the reasons, because I didn't know if I would be able to find another job that I would have
I see.
1 day a week
Yeah.
to do it, and I needed to actually slow down because of the things that I mentioned, like was not healthy.
Yeah.
What I was doing for so long, and how I would slow down if I found if I go back to whatever studio and work the way, like 8 hours a week or 10 hours every 8 hours every day,
Yeah.
or 10 hours every day sometimes, or 12 in the studio. I wouldn't have time at all to keep doing it.
Right.
So I kind of set, I think by September-ish 2018, I decided to do like a last push
Yeah.
to actually make that happen. So if nothing else works, at least I can, you know, like work as a freelancer for a little bit,
Right.
and have the other part coming from this project. You know, like that was the idea
Mm-hmm.
to finish. And also one thing interesting that I found later, now that I'm done with it, is that if you release the tool that is not paid, it's um, especially studios doesn't take that seriously.
Right.
They don't see that as a tool.
Right.
When
You-
the moment that I released and I said, okay, now it's official released, I got tons of emails from studios. I haven't
Yeah.
got so many. I mean, not as almost nothing before that.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it's the thing where it gets shared around, and like half the industry or whatever is using it at this point, because people pick it up somewhere and then take it and then get everyone using it. I know I did the same thing. They were like, oh, what's that nice little toolbar? And I was like, oh, it's this thing and you can try it out for free. And they were like, oh, that's fun. And then I think when it became a thing, most companies are pretty willing to spend money on anything that will save all their workers a bunch of time, and this obviously does. So I guess it's just that final step over into, like, I mean, if it's free, it's like there's no need to tell upper management and to like make it a thing. But if it's like a paid for thing, it's like, quick, let's get this all through so we don't have to like go without and lose a bunch of hours on something for no reason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And plus, like what companies are looking for is making sure that you are gonna be there to, you know, fix whatever needs to be fixed,
Yeah.
or implement something else that
Right.
they need. And if it's a free tool, of course they are not gonna have any voice. You know,
Yeah.
it's free, like it's
Yeah.
you as is kind of thing. But once it's paid,
They can take you seriously.
yeah, something
Yeah.
more professional. So
Yeah.
that's the funny part about this, like making something that is paid is actually useful for everyone
Yeah.
involved.
Yeah.
Not only like it's better to pay for it
Yeah.
and have that environment where companies are taking seriously, and I'm developing. I'm devoting more of my time fixing things and making sure that it works, because making it free has its values, of
Mm-hmm.
course, for some stuff, but for like niche, very niche tools like this, I found that I had been having much more better experience with Animbot than A tools.
Yeah.
Much more feedback, because people, once you pay, you want to you want that to work,
Sure.
so you and you give more value to it as
Right.
well.
Yeah.
So you will be more annoyed by little things, and I will be more annoyed by those little things. I will be more engaged to fix those little things, and at the end, everybody wins, because
Yeah.
you know
Well, 100%. I mean, I think what's been really great about the whole process is that you've always kept everyone very informed about what you're doing and why you're doing it, for all the Patreon people anyway. And even the fact that your initial A tools was completely free was pretty crazy, um, given how many tools are out there that are free, and they're just like one thing on that toolbar, and if you get like three of them, that would be like a bunch of money, and it would be not very well designed, and it wouldn't be very nice to use, and it was from like 4 years ago. And the fact that you did all of A tools completely free, and you can still get it free, right, if you want to,
yeah, still
right,
there.
it's still there, is amazing, because I think I first got it when I was a student, and like when you're a student you can't afford anything. So to have so many cool tools free was crazy. So then when it rolled around that you were actually going to work on a new one, it was like, oh well, that's just easy. And I think one of the emails you sent out when you were looking into paid for, like how you would like pay for Animbot. And I remember seeing like, oh, I want to like hear your opinion on what, like, if it would be like a monthly thing or a one-off thing. And my brain immediately went, oh, much rather have a one-off thing. Like, I'm a professional now, I don't mind how much it costs, I'd much rather do a one-off thing. And then I read your like breakdown of it, and it's like, well, you can do a one-off thing, but then that doesn't give like the continued support and extra tools that I could work on. And then I was like, oh well, if I could give up like a coffee or two and get more tools and support you doing it, then that seems worth it. So like it helped, I think it really helped put everything into perspective. But wow, what a hell of a journey you had to go through to get to
Yeah.
this point. That's kind of crazy. So are you gonna like take a bit of a, like a break now to like recover from all that big push you've just done, or are you back on trying to deal with all the
Yeah,
corporate stuff, or
yeah. Now that I released, I'm not. I can't take any breaks.
okay, you're just like full throttle now.
Yeah, but one thing that I did was I took some more time off the
Yeah.
studio. I'm working every day now, but only after lunch.
Okay. Right.
That's
Right.
good. I have all the mornings to work on this.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's kind of where I want to stand, when I want to stay right
Yeah.
now. Because I as I mentioned, like I don't want to do this full time,
Right.
because not because I don't want, only, but it wouldn't work because I need to use it to,
Right.
you know,
Yeah. No, it makes
because
sense.
otherwise, like, people, if you are just using the tool, I'm like this as well. I'm not blaming anyone, like, but if I'm using something, I need to make sure that at least it works well.
Yeah.
You can have bugs. You'll be annoyed by little things that I haven't foreseen, and all that kind of stuff. But at least like the basics works well right
Yeah.
off the bat. And if I'm not using it, it's not gonna work like this. I would
Yeah.
have to rely on people stressing themselves
Yeah.
about stuff and sending me feedback so I can fix stuff.
Yeah.
And that usually doesn't work very well.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the challenges for companies to make those tools in house, because they have the money, they have the capability, they
Yeah.
have good, much better developers that that I am. But the fact that those developers doesn't use the tool,
Right.
they rely on all the animators
Yep.
iterating on it, and how are you gonna iterate on something that you have quota to deliver?
Yeah.
Like people would just, okay, that doesn't work, I'm not using it.
Yeah.
You know, it's simple as this.
Yeah.
If it's not working, even the basic, or it's too much of a hell to make it work.
Yeah.
Like,
You just whatever. I'll work around it. I've got stuff
yeah.
to do next.
Plus, they think that we have NASA monitors to hold all of those UIs. You know, usually like, okay, you want a line tool? Okay,
Yeah.
I have this one. Boom.
Yeah. Warm.
Options.
Yeah. Well, I remember like when I first started like showing people my original company that I went to work at, because I was using it as a student, and then I went to my first company, and people like ended up installing A-tools, and you know, one of the tech guys came over and was like, oh, like we already have like a company tween machine and this, that, and the other. And I'm like, yeah, but it's like, it's all there for me to use, and it's pretty, and it's like functional, and I don't have to like go find it every time. And they're like, yeah, but like it's not hard to go get it. And it's like, yeah, but if you do that 100 times a day, you know, it adds up, the difference. And I think that's one of the things that's so interesting about, I feel like, why this has worked so well. I mean, there's a lot of reasons, obviously, but the thing is that you're a 2D animator, a 3D animator, and a tech artist, and a developer. You know? Like, you've worked as all four of those things, right?
Yeah.
And as a lead, and all those kind of things. So what's cool is that I feel like most people are either more technically minded or more creatively minded, and that's why they go, oh, I love animation, oh, but I want to be doing the tool stuff, or I love animation, but I want to be doing the creative side. And you've got a foot in both worlds, so that you can go, I know that if this is going to annoy me, it's going to annoy everyone else. And
yeah, it's like two different languages. Like if you have a Russian talking to I don't know, a Brazilian,
okay,
they will not gonna understand each other,
mm-hmm.
and that's what happens. Like because it's a very different world.
Yeah.
From one to the other. Like one like simple example is sometimes like animators want in a studio got together and they decide, okay, we need a tool to do this.
Yeah.
And then if they take that raw like this to a developer, they will do whatever they think you want, which always it's not. Or if the animators wanted to go further and say, oh, we need a slider here, we need a button there, we need whatever,
Mm-hmm.
and then you'll never get to a consensus because everyone has a different opinion about it. But even if you do, we did that at Sony. It's super hard. We were like 10 people and everyone had a different opinion.
Right.
Animator.
Yeah.
Animators. But even if you get together, we get to something. Okay, let's do this, and then you take to the development. They will do something a little bit different that you asked.
Yeah.
Because they wanna, because we don't know everything to make that work. They know how to make that work.
Yeah.
But they don't know what you want.
Yeah.
So it's kind of doesn't really work very well.
Yeah.
You get some tools, of course, like something like you solve the problem. Let's put it that way. You have a button to do what you want. But usually it's not the best. The best that it could be done.
Yeah. And I think there's like two other things that go hand in hand. One of the things that we found is that, so as a student, I didn't know this, but like most companies will have like an in-house tools thing, right? Where they have someone full-time developing tools to help animators and to help like kind of the modelers and that kind of side of things. And I found that when you're getting mentored or you first join a studio, people kind of go, oh, well, here are like the 3 tools I use. And then they're like, oh, I got like 100 other things to do. And then they're off. And you'll kind of go, all right. And then later on you find there's like 100 more tools you didn't even know about that the company's made, but they're not very usable. No one's told you about them. They only work in certain scenarios or whatever it is because there was like X thing that needed to be done. And there's all this like information lost because people are so busy that if it's not intuitive, then people just don't use it. And also what you said was really interesting about when you move to another company and then everything's different again. It's not like everyone agrees on like a tool set to use. So every single time you have to relearn what all this company's tools are and if they have them, and if they don't, then it's really annoying. So yeah, it's pretty fantastic. I actually wrote out like 4 pages of notes, and I've used literally none of them because that story was just brilliant. I mean, it is gone 5, I think. Yeah, it's 10 past 5. So I told you it'd be easy.
I didn't even told the story that Autodesk wanted to buy.
Do you want to? Yeah. Well, everyone's been saying why haven't Autodesk bought this yet?
Yeah, they tried.
And you said no?
Came to me. But that was like 3 months after I released the beta.
Mm-hmm.
They came to me. We had some meetings to talk about. But the thing is, like, the way that they want to do it, it would just ruin it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because they wanted to do exactly what Sony did. They wanted to own the tool in the first place, which to me would be okay if they you want to own it, that's fine. But the first they want to they didn't want to pay much.
Okay.
Like, they wouldn't pay not even the hours. Like, if I would convert the hours that I had already worked to that point in my animator salary, it wouldn't pay.
Yeah, wouldn't even cover it.
That they offered. And the problem was that this kind of tool doesn't have much value on their hands.
Yeah.
Because they cannot charge more money because of it.
Right.
So, and if I were doing like Blender version, let's say, maybe they would say, okay, so that might drive users to Blender, and maybe that has a value, and then they might like add more value to it. But the way that it was, and it is, it's not much value on their hands, and they it was a nice talk, actually. Like, they also understood my perspective, and they encouraged me to do it at the end of the conversation.
That's lovely.
Yeah, it was nice.
Yeah.
Because it's good for them.
Yeah, it is.
It's
Makes
not
it
as
more
good
usable.
as they own it on their hands, but it's good. I'm doing basically for free for them.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, improving their software for free.
Yeah, that's true.
Good.
I didn't think about it like that.
Yeah.
Do you have any plans to make an Animbot for Blender or 3ds Max? Sorry?
I want to do it.
Yeah? See how it goes?
Yeah, because the idea, the whole like philosophy behind this is goes back to that thing that I mentioned in the very beginning, where it's hard to the pencil thing. You want to have the pencil. Once you learn to use that pencil, you want to have that everywhere.
Yeah.
You want to have it at home, at work, in other softwares, or whatever. Because the software at the end of the day doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't. But if it's more usable, it makes a big difference. Like, if it's easier to use.
Yeah. So if we have like something that we can use in Blender, in Maya, in 3D Max, whatever it is, if the industry goes towards Blender in the future, we wouldn't get hit at all. It would be very easy to go from one software to the other.
Yeah.
That's the goal, but it's a lot of work. Like, I want to first. I still have a lot of things to do that I want to do for AniMates. It's like the release is not the end; it's just like a milestone. Because I wanted that was one of the other challenge to me. That how am I going to convince someone to not convince, but not convince in a way that like persuade the person or anything, but how that's gonna add value to to an animator to pay for something if they can use a tools for that. So it needed to be like in the first place much better than a tools
Yeah.
and have all of the features that of a tools. That was the reason it took me so long to for the release because if a tool didn't exist, I could release at any point.
Mm-hmm.
But I needed to make an embot gets to a point where you could replace a tools completely.
Right.
So that was the milestone, but it's not the end
Yeah.
at all. I still have a lot of things that I want to do, and
Yeah, we can't wait.
yeah. So this year is gonna be fun.
Yeah, you saved a lot of animators all over the world a ton of time. So yeah, I mean, it must be pretty surreal to have been working at it on your own for so long to actually be getting to the point where you actually see the response now. You know, you see not just through Patreon, but through all the companies contacting you and everything. It must be like so rewarding. I just, I still can't get over like how skilled you are. I don't really get it. So, I don't understand how you can be a talented animator and 2D animator and just pick up Python. Like, how did you teach yourself Python? You said you just kind of went on the internet and.
Yeah, nowadays I think it's hard work basically.
Okay.
I think if you'll need to like doing it
Yeah.
as well. If you want to do, I get some friends that I wanna learn Python, but they don't have any goal.
Right. It's just nah.
I wanna yeah, they follow some tutorials, but they don't have any like real goal.
Yeah.
I think that helped me.
Yeah.
For example, I want to do an animation tool.
Yeah.
That's what I wanted to do. That was
Yeah.
my goal. And then learning the language in order to do that, it's a very slow process and very hard, but everything like internet is a endless holy grail of information.
Yeah.
Like you have everything, but you need to know what you don't have the time in your life to actually learn everything. But so if you know exactly what your goals are, you just learn that, you know.
Yeah.
So I think that
You've got to have the
was-
passion behind learning it, otherwise you'll only get so far.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, because doing this for 2 years without any sort of goal, it would be. I would have give up for sure.
Sorry, one sec. So I think we had a couple questions. So I think one of them was whether or not you're going to create the toolset for Blender. So we covered that. And a couple people saying you're superhuman, and someone saying, oh no, I've lost it now. Oh, Robbie Belly says, are there any specific resources you'd recommend to learning Python, like Udemy? You know, any of the online courses for people who do want to learn it?
Yeah, I did one on Udemy. From that, it's funny because that course is from the guy that was the TD that was teaching me at Sony that I mentioned before.
The one that's on Udemy?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
So it's called Python for Artists. I think Python for Maya Artists or something like this.
Okay.
From Dhruv. I mean,
On Udemy?
yeah. That's quite his name.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna have to screw up this stream temporarily so I can just tell me when you've done it. And I'll go weird for a second. Have you sent it to me?
Yes, I sent his name.
Cool, got it.
Yeah. So I did this one. I did another one for Qt because Qt is you can use Qt in Python. It's like a module that you can use to create UIs. So anything like visual, like windows and buttons and everything, sliders, I use Qt.
Okay.
Yeah, a very good start.
I think I could talk to you for like another 3 hours with all the stuff I've written down, but I don't think that's fair. So thank you very much. Alan has been kind enough to give us a $10 off code that expires on the 31st of January, which is just the AniMates. So if you were thinking about checking out and giving it a go, you can get $10 off with that code, the AniMates. And I think that's it. Potentially one of the most fun interviews I've had the pleasure of doing on this show. Thank you very much for coming, and we definitely wish you the best of luck with the rest of AdamBot. I can't wait to see what you end up coming up with. But I hope you also manage to get a bit of rest in there at the same time. But I just think it's such an inspiration that you made this tool because you were frustrated with the tools you were given, and you didn't even consider like the broader concepts of it. You just were like, well, this annoys the hell out of me, so I'm going to go way out my way to learn it all and to make it a thing. And the fact that you still make sure you have the time to use the tools today. You haven't gone like, it's not like that is my passion. It's just a means to an end of my actual passion, and that's, I think that's really, really great. But yeah, thank you for coming on the show, and we'll see you guys next Sunday, as always.
Thank you very much.
Kapow. Yeah.